Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Very good afternoon to all of the listeners of Iman FM. This is Drive Time Show with your host Hafiz Muhammad Anwaar. Every Monday to Thursdays from 4 till 6 p.m. And inshallah in today's Drive Time Show, it will be an honor to have my co-host with me, Muhammad Shafaqat Sab, and he will be with me throughout the show as well, inshallah. And today's show is going to be mainly about the attack in Manchester Arena last night, as you are, I'm sure, well aware of it. So we would like your contribution in the show to have your say on this incident. Studio hotline number is 01142425200. WhatsApp 078855999786. You can also send me a text message as well. Do like us on Facebook, Iman FM Radio. Follow us on Twitter at Iman FM 1031. And the show is live on Iman TV Online as well, so welcome to all of the viewers as well. So you can have your questions or your say via Iman on TV Online as well, or send your comments in or any questions that you have. We will have lots of guests as well, inshallah. At 4:30 we will have Muhammad Shafiq Sab, CEO Ramadan Foundation. 4:45 Maroof Hussain Sab from Tel Mama. There's something else happening outside Sheffield City Hall as well. Inshallah, we'll be talking more about that after 5 p.m. We'll have headlines as well, stories from different papers. So, but most importantly, your feedback is important to us. First of all, let's welcome my co-host today, someone who does not need any introduction at all, Muhammad Shafaqat Sab. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam, Hafiz Sab. Nice to be back on the Drive Time Show. And it's a very sad day. I mean, last evening it happened, this incident. I was here in the morning as well with Shabir Bhai. Yeah. We did a program this morning and I came into the studio. It was very somber, lots of calls. And as the day goes on, people, there seems to be, even in Sheffield, you can feel the atmosphere. When I was just driving back to the studio, if you look at the people in the cars driving past you, obviously people are listening to the radio stations and catching up with the updates, and there's a lot of sadness, a lot of anger, maybe a lot of frustration, a lot of quiet on the streets of Sheffield as well. And it happened only 40 miles away from here, and obviously everybody condemns such barbaric acts, no matter who does it. This is a criminal act, and these individuals, whoever they are, they have no faith, no religion, no race. They are a faceless enemy. Who not just damage innocent lives, but they damage community cohesion and the overall atmosphere of any nation. And from here to Pakistan to the Middle East, we've seen these people, doing acts of terrorism, which have really put the whole safety of the world, on ease, because at the moment there is no safety anywhere. Nobody can guarantee.
Of course.
I was saying to Shabir Mughal this morning, but this weekend I was going to go myself to Manchester and stay the weekend in city centre, and so you don't know where you can be. You can be at the wrong place at the wrong time, and these 22 lives that have been lost, the youngest being 8 years old. It's really tragic. Still around 50-60 people in the hospitals. We don't know what's going to happen with them as well. So it's still an unfolding story. They know the identity according to some reports, and another person's been arrested in Manchester, Cholton. It's developing story at the moment. We don't know who's behind this yet.
About 22 dead, 59 injured.
That's right, yeah.
According to the latest report. So of course, it's a tragic event. But obviously, we will talk more this with our guests as well. But I would like to have your opinion on this, because as soon as this kind of incident happens, all of a sudden, the name automatically comes towards the Muslim community. That,
That's right.
It's someone, a Muslim, who's done this kind of terror attack. But obviously, it's still unseen. But obviously, as you said early on, and I agree with that, and I'm sure the listeners as well, they, of course, anyone who is involved in such terror activities have no religion or faith. Obviously, if they're claiming to be Muslim, the other Muslims, the practicing Muslims, they've got nothing to do with this. What's their fault in this? So I'd like to have your say on this as well.
This is the fear factor. I mean, this morning, all morning, I've been getting text messages and contacts, people contacting what's going to happen. Kids are scared, families. My own daughter had to, she was going to go to college, and sometimes she goes on the bus, but she goes to her mum, drop me off, please. I don't want to go on the bus. I feel scared. So this is, because this incident comes home. It comes low. It comes to every family. It's affecting everybody, and people are staring at people, and the atmosphere is very frightening at the moment because people are just suspicious of each other. You know what's happening here. So really, yes, you're saying you're right that as soon as something happens anywhere in the world, people straight away, because the media have built up that case throughout the world, especially the Western media, that anything to do with the terrorism mainly is to do with Islam, and that's been built over since 9/11. So it's a long time now. So nearly 15, 16, 17 years now, since 9/11, and when you keep continuously bashing that the Muslims terrorism, Islamic terrorism, when you start giving labels to a whole religion and acquaint it with the acts like these, it's very difficult label to get rid of. And I said it this morning, and I'll say it again, that the Muslim community cannot live in denial. Yes, these people have nothing to do with our faith and nothing to do with our communities. They are lone wolves like this one. But when the story develops and then the comments start coming that he was now the reports are coming that he's linked to ISIS, and ISIS are claiming that he was part of their group, and and then there's a lot of Twitter feed, a lot of arguments and debate on Twitter as well, and so really the Muslim community is at a crossroads. It always is when something like this happens. 7/7, 9/11, and then recently Westminster. Now this is just as big as 7/7. So we as a community have to really come out openly and even in our masajid and in our community centers everywhere, be vigilant as well of people who are suspicious, and if we see anything or hear anything, we must report it, because these people are the maximum damage they are doing is to the Muslim community itself.
Of course, and I think you're right. We need to get out of this dilemma. 9/11 and 7/7, all of these attacks happened years and years ago. And obviously, the Muslim community needs to wake up and obviously have your say and approach to the non-believers. Especially if you are from the Muslim community, to give them the message that all of these acts have got nothing to do with Muslims at all. So this is something we need to look into, and obviously this is what we will be talking to our guests and have their views on this as well. So the studio hotline number is 01142425200, or you can WhatsApp us on 0788 5599786. A special vigil for the victims of the Manchester attack will be held in the Peace Gardens at 6 p.m. this evening. People are invited to lay flowers as a show of solidarity, and a book of condolence is also open in Sheffield Town Hall, and flag will be flying at half-mast. So obviously that's something else our listeners can go towards to obviously show your solidarity and of course condolences to those families who have lost their loved ones in this tragic event last night. So 01142425200, we would love to have your calls because after 4:30 we'll have a special guest. So we've got a couple of minutes before we go for our first commercial break, so do give us your calls, and obviously if you want to have your say, here is an opportunity for you. And we have got a caller as well, I believe, online, so let's check who is joining us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Who am I speaking to?
Speaking to Ishfaq Kyani,
Ashfaq Kyani sir, welcome to the show.
Ishfaq Kyani sir, assalamu alaikum, welcome to the Drive Time Show.
Wa alaikum assalam, Ishfaq. I'd just like to echo what I'm sure I've just come from work, so obviously I've not been tuning, just tuned on the radio. I've just wished, like to echo what I'm sure a lot of people are saying. I mean, obviously this hideous, coward, sickening attack, on more or less on our doorsteps now. And one thing if I may, and please don't take this in a wrong context, I think we mustn't advocate or try to embed fear factor in our community. The only way that we can, obviously, we show solidarity. We're united. The terrorists or the perpetrators, they don't have a religion. And Shafaqat, often I use this phrase, and I will use it time and again, that a Muslim cannot be a terrorist cannot be a Muslim. I know there's going to be backlash, but please be circumspect. When we're talking out to the community, that we don't instill or advocate any fear. I think what we need to do is try our level best to keep, just lead a normal life. I know we're under the microscope. We have been for number of years. Again, I think you alluded to the fact that it was more or less simultaneous when I heard this morning, and simultaneously the name Islam cropped up again. And I think, really, again, often we, and, there are 1.7 billion Muslims out there in the world. And, add to that, if there are so-called, and I wouldn't even call them Muslim, but so-called Muslim, in the minute, 0.9 of that majority, if they are going to use the name of Islam for their vested interest, and I don't think we as a community should be held accountable. Again, we condemn this, taking innocent life, those children, 22 people who have lost
Ishfaq, just quickly before you, because the lines are getting very busy, just want to say, because obviously you work in the local education authorities and in the schools, what was the atmosphere like in the school today, and what about the children? Were they asking you the questions, and were they worried about stuff?
Somber, obviously somber. Majority of pupils, they're aware, and large number, are saying that, this is not on, sorry, or miss. Why have they done that? What's the reason behind it? It's not nice to take, innocent life. Of course it's not. It's totally un-Islamic. It's nothing to do with Islam. Yes, the mood was somewhat somber, in the school, with some of our pupils. But again, it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that another, you mentioned that several events that have taken place, and yet another that's going to compound even more misery. But I think we need to stand united. We need to show solidarity, which we are, and we need to soldier on.
Okay, thank you very much, Ishfaq. Thank you. Line ki taraf chalte, line 2, and let's see who's on line 2. Assalamu alaikum. Who's calling?
Walaikum assalam, it's Nasser here.
Oh, Nasser, mashallah. How are you, Nasser?
I'm fine. As promised to you earlier on, I had to ring in.
Yeah, thank you for your call, Nasser. And Nasser, I mean, obviously you've been reflecting. It's been, since yesterday. This morning we talked when you came on the air this morning as well. And since that time till now, I mean, what's the feeling now? I mean, in the community, you've been talking to people, obviously. What's the reaction locally? What are people saying?
Two things, really. One is get out of the way that candle vigil that we organised after Sheffield Town Hall steps has now been cancelled. We're asking all of our people that supported us for that first one to now attend the one that the Lord Mayor's called at 6 o'clock, which Hafiz Anwaar announced a short while ago at the Peace Gardens, where all the faith leaders will be there. That's the first thing. And second thing is on, obviously things have been kicking off as soon as some sort of identity have been released. That's not been released yet, the identity of the attacker, but the identity of his religion or the links, ISIS, IS, straight down to Muslim community again. However, rather than go on to the defensive, I think it's important that we start to acknowledge that we do have a problem, not in the sense that Islam is a problem or Muslims are a problem, but translation, there is a problem there. There's not more interfaith and interfaith work that's needed to try and bridge some gaps and explain what our religion is and to show the religion of peace. And Ishfaq, what I will also add, because I'm very conscious of time and your ad breaks, is the fact that we have got the attacks have already started on social media, straight on the Muslim community. Myself, I've witnessed 2 attacks myself in Rotherham alone, one at Tinsley and one in town just now, literally about 10-15 minutes ago, speaking to people, and people were straight away giving you the dirty looks as though you're one of these attackers and making racial slurs, which I've reported, and things are kicking off. The backlash will now start, unfortunately. But sabr for the community, and I think it's one where you've got to play each day as it comes. But I do think we need to get our religion and the meaning of peace across to our people that don't understand anything about our religion. They only see what they see on the TV screens and in the media.
Okay, Nasser, thank you very much for your comments. We're going to go straight to the ad breaks now, inshallah, and then do keep listening to Iman FM's Drive Time Show.
Thank you, Nasser. Thank you for your call. And we've got a couple of people joined in. Azia Khan says, terrorism have no religion, so sad. My condolence from core of my heart. And Mirza Iqbal Beg Saab, all the way from Pakistan, has joined us and said, nice to see you both. Jazakallah khair, Mirza Iqbal Beg Saab. Lovely to Assalamu alaikum from Shafaka Saab as well, and Muhammad Ali Saab, Assalamu alaikum as well. So we'll see you right after this break with Muhammad Shafiq, CEO Ramadan Foundation, inshallah.
This is your local community station, Iman FM on 103.1 FM.
Join me, Zaid Haq, every Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. with Sports Week only on Iman FM. Between 10 and 10:30 is the football and cricket results. Between 10:30 and 11 is the football phone-in. Between 11 and 11:30 is the cricket phone-in. Hashtag the show, Iman FM SW.
Con Solicitors, sponsorship visas, British citizenship, indefinite leave to remain applications, human rights, domestic violence, judicial reviews. You live your life. Let Con Solicitors do the legal work for you. Call us on 0114-258-3399 or our dedicated 24-hour emergency helpline 07976-958-826 or visit www.consolicitors.com.
फ्रेश मार्ट सुपर स्टोर अब शेफील्ड में भी खुल गया है। आएं और साफ सुथरे माहौल में शॉपिंग के साथ साथ स्पेशल ऑफर्स भी पाएं। फ्रेश मार्ट सुपर स्टोर में शेफील्ड के सबसे बड़े HMC मीट काउंटर से गोश्त की बड़ी वैरायटी और सब्जियों के अलावा फ्रोजन फिश एंड फूड और किचन वेयर भी हासिल करें। फ्री पार्किंग के अलावा होम डिलीवरी सर्विस। फ्रेश मार्ट सुपर स्टोर, Irving Street off Stonyford Road, Darnell, Sheffield. Telephone 0114 244 5862.
Imran's Fried Chicken. Over 20 years of trading in the Wicker. Whether it's fried chicken, wraps, burgers, or lamb steak and sizzling food, including peri-peri. Check out our great Ramadan offers at Imran's. Thinking of chicken? Think Imran's Fried Chicken. Imran's at the Wicker, Sheffield. Telephone 01142 75 75 21. Imran's. Probably the best chicken around.
Special offer, free drink with any meal over £4.
आपकी जिंदगी के हसीन लम्हात को मजीद हसीन बनाने में पेश
AP Performance.
शादी, सालगिरह, प्रॉम्स या वीकेंड इवेंट को बनाए यादगार।
AP Performance.
रोल्स रॉयस या कोई और प्रेस्टीज कार आप कर सकते हैं हायर।
AP Performance.
शोफर के साथ कार आपकी तकरीब को लगाए चांद चार।
AP Performance.
Canklo Road, Rotherham, S62JB 01709 830 576. AP Performance.
The MFS Furniture Sale now on. Over 15,000 square foot showroom full of all types of sofas and beds, plus bedroom and dining room furniture, all at fantastic prices. With up to 70% off all lines off our already unbeatable prices, and as always, find online prices in store. Take advantage of these amazing offers. MFS Furniture Trade Centre on Rawmarsh Road, Parkgate in Rotherham. Call 01709 82 11 59 and online at mfsfurniture.co.uk.
Yes? Who is it?
Mr. Compensator. Mr. Compensator. एक इंश्योरेंस कंपनी मिस्टर कॉम्पनसेटर को हराने की कोशिश में लगे हुई है, लेकिन वो ये नहीं जानते मिस्टर कॉम्पनसेटर को हराना मुश्किल नहीं, नामुमकिन है। टैक्सी क्लेम ले आओ और 2000 ले जाओ। मिस्टर कॉम्पनसेटर, गोल्डन टैक्सी, एबीडेल रोड, S71FJ. Call 0114 3863 386.
Your voice, your choice. You're listening to Iman FM.
By Halal Subway at Parkgate, Retail Park, Rotherham. Whether you're vegetarian or like meat, loads of low-fat sandwiches for you, and yes, all halal. 36 seated restaurants. We provide catering for birthday parties and office meetings. Have the sandwiches your way at Subway. Subway Halal at Stadium Way, Parkgate, Retail Park, Rotherham. Come to Subway. Come to Subway. Eat halal. Eat halal. Eat fresh. Eat fresh.
It's time for Sports Ki Duniya on Drive Time. Welcome back. You are listening to Drive Time Show with your host Hafiz, Mohammed Anwaar and Mohammed Shafaqat. We'll be with you all the way up until 6 p.m. Studio hotline number is 0114 2425 200. You can WhatsApp us as well, 0788 5599 786. We will have Mohammed Shafiq Saab and Maroof Hussain Saab in a short while. At the moment, we have got Sister Anjum Anwar from the Ummah channel as well, and she's very active in the community. So let's welcome her to the show as well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sister.
Walaikum assalam. Jazakallah khair. Thank you.
Jazakallah khair for taking time out and being with ourselves. First of all, we would like to have your views on this tragic incident which happened last night.
I don't think my views are any different from any other views. Tragic, sad, but why should I as a Muslim be asked this question? I think if one is to be asked, then everybody should be asked. I'm not apologizing, and I will never apologize for criminal behavior. What stupid people do, I can't be held responsible, or certainly my faith, which seems to be hijacked every time something like this happens. And you get people, Muslims, coming out in droves, apologizing and saying that Islam is against terrorism. Well, every sensible person knows that.
ठीक है, apologize तो सभी apologize तो नहीं, condemn और apologize में बहुत सारा फर्क है, लेकिन
No, why should I be condemning something which has personally nothing to do with me? It's a criminal act. The police need to arrest those people who have committed that crime if they can and bring them to justice. It's a tragic to see that an 8-year-old child, there were 16 children who were under 18 who were killed, and that's tragic. But the question we need to ask is, who are these people? And but I don't believe that a community should be held for ransom because of the tragedy. Hello.
Okay, Sister Anjum, but you're absolutely right. And finally, we'd just like to, obviously, apologizing or condemning. So what other things Muslim community in particular needs to do to get out of situations like this when they occur?
I don't think they're in that situation. I think, number one, they have to stop apologizing. Number two, they have to stop feeling guilty. Number three, live as Muslims should do. We are a caring community. We care about people. In Manchester, there were taxi drivers who took people free of charge. Restaurants have opened up. People have opened up their homes. Majority of people are caring people, whether they're Muslims or non-Muslim. They're caring people. And I think what we need to highlight is that there's more goodness, alhamdulillah, in the world than there's badness.
Okay, thank you very much, Sister Anjum. Thank you very much for your call. And unfortunately, we have got lots of other guests lined up as well. So without any further ado, we have got Muhammad Shafiq Saab, CEO Ramadan Foundation, online with ourselves. So let's welcome Muhammad Shafiq to the show as well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, good afternoon. Shafiq Saab, we also got Muhammad Shafiq Saab in the studios with ourselves as well. So
Shafiq bhai, assalamu alaikum to you.
Shafiq bhai, starting off with, I want to find out from yourself your initial reaction after you have heard the story or the news for the very first time last night.
So I got a call about probably 10 to 11 from a taxi driver friend who was in the vicinity of the arena, had heard a loud explosion, felt it was, it wasn't a blown speaker or a balloon, it was something more serious, and he contacted me to tell me about it, and that's when obviously started to see the reports of, the mayhem and the injury that had been caused. It's been a pretty long night.
Shafiq bhai, obviously, everybody is saddened by what's happened, and like our sister just before you said as well, that it's a tragic event. But what initial reports have you got from, if you have any, who's behind this, and lots of claims and counterclaims, and arrest has been made in Manchester of a 23-year-old as well. So, what's the latest you have from your sources?
Okay, so as you said, you referred to the 23-year-old who was arrested in Charlton.
That's right.
There was a search of a house in the area called Fallowfield, which is on the other side of Rusholme. There was a controlled explosion done at the house. Again, we've not had any more information about whether that was because they found something at this house or it was just as a safety mechanism. I have a name of an individual. Obviously, at this stage, because the police haven't confirmed that person, I'm not going to tell people who it is. But yeah, it does look like it's a Muslim, and obviously we'll have to wait and see for further details. One key point which I don't know if people picked up in the statement from the Prime Minister Theresa May a few hours ago, where she said that the individual was known to security services and apparently, again this is not confirmed, was under surveillance.
Shafiq, that's a fascinating scenario that, the individuals like this are always under the surveillance or known to police. Why is there no preemptive, action against such people? But when they do something, they don't just cause damage to the country, the local city that they've done this, and community cohesion. People like yourself who work day and night to bring communities together. It becomes a very difficult task when we have these kind of incidents every year. This is after a long time, after 7/7, such a big incident. But today, there's a lot of people asking that question. Why do not police or agencies pick up these people who they see as a potential threat?
I would say to people listening to this that for the police and the intelligence agencies, they have to be right every time. For the terrorists, they just have to be lucky once. This is this attack that's happened. But actually, if you look at what happened between July the 7th in 2005 and now, there's been a number of plots that have been stopped. So actually, the police are doing a good job. But, when a terrorist, a maniac, a barbaric animal is determined to cause as much mayhem as we saw yesterday, they're going to do that. And so, I think it's too early to speculate about what did the intelligence agencies know, have they failed or not. I mean, I think it's slightly insensitive of us to have that political debate at this stage. At the moment, it's very much about the victims, their families, an 8-year-old girl, 8-year-old baby. I've got a daughter roughly the same age. I'm sure people listening to this will have children same age. Just think of their parents. Think of what their parents are going through this moment, and let's just show a bit of love and compassion, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's whole life was about compassion. It was about love, it was tolerance, and that's what we're going to do over the next few days. And tomorrow, inshallah, the imams of Greater Manchester, so if any imam from Sheffield or South Yorkshire is listening to this and wants to come along and show solidarity, we've got a multi-faith Muslim vigil tomorrow at 5 o'clock outside the town hall in Manchester City Centre, where we're hopefully you can have as many Muslims there as possible, just to show solidarity and compassion towards the victims and their family.
What would your message be to the overall communities, not just the Muslim communities listening to you now? What would your message be in this difficult time?
My message has been pretty much the same as it's been since last night. I've only had 2.5 hours sleep over the last 12, since last night anyway. Hundreds of interviews. The message is clear. Islam is absolutely clear that anybody who involves themselves in terrorism, anybody who supports terrorism, anybody who finances them, anybody that tweets them or Facebook positive message about these terrorist organizations like ISIS and Al-Qaeda or Al-Shabaab or Taliban, that they are enemies of Islam. Islam totally forbids this. This is not sanctioned at all in our faith. And they're animals, they're butchers, and we'll confront them. We support the police. And I suppose in conclusion, we do not want anybody to come to Manchester, our home city, and try to divide us. So the likes of Tommy Robinson and the far right and politicians and commentators, keep your comments to yourself. We're united. And we saw something extraordinary yesterday. I spoke to one of my taxi driver friends, and he said, I can't sit here and do nothing. So I'm just going to go around there and I'm going to offer a free ride to anybody who wants it. And he then passed that message on to all his taxi driver friends. And before you knew it, there was hundreds of taxis who were offering free rides. Now, usually we all complain about taxi drivers putting us in Tariff 3 and Tariff 4 if there ever exist, complaining about, double fares and taxi drivers doing us over. But I'm proud of all our Manchester taxi drivers, Muslim, Christians, everybody, predominantly Muslim taxi drivers who came and didn't charge anything. I know one driver, he drove from Manchester to Stoke-on-Trent, which is about 45 miles, for free to drop off a family because they didn't have any transport to go back home.
Okay.
So that's the reality of what's happening, and I'm proud of Manchester.
Okay, Shafiq, thank you very much for taking time out. Have a bit of rest now. I think you're very tired, and we appreciate your call.
Of course, and we could tell from his voice he's very tired. Obviously, lots of interviews.
Yeah.
And Shafaka bhai, those people who are watching us on Iman TV online, welcome as well. Lots of people have joined us, and our very beloved friend Taslim Ahmed Sabri Saab joined us as well. So,
MashaAllah, Assalamu alaikum to Taslim, and we are asking to do dua for everybody.
And Taslim bhai, if you are watching, then we would like to have a message from you as well. If you can comment here as well, and of course, and congratulations for you on joining Geo Network as well. And Shafaq, I wanted to touch upon this point a bit later on, but I think Shafiq Sir mentioned a very important thing, because there were some stories last night as well that, at least more than 60% of the taxi drivers in Manchester are Muslim, from the Muslim background. And as Shafiq Sir said, it's absolutely right that when special occasions come like Christmas and Boxing Day, the tariff goes up. But the role that these taxi drivers have played last night is absolutely, is something that we should be all proud of. And
that needs to be highlighted as well.
And whoever was coming out of the arena, taxi drivers, all of a sudden there were at least 300-400 taxi drivers, but they're picking people up, not thinking about their busy time and everything, dropping people off free of charge, and they were Muslims as well.
Exactly.
And the other drivers as well.
I mean, we need to highlight stuff like this as well, and this is the reality of Islam. This is the true face of Islam, and I think most of the callers and our sisters as well, people are angry as well when we sometimes do say that, try to debate it in this way that, what should the Muslim community do? Yes, we have to ask that question. In the media, we need to ask the question. That's the reality. There can be no denial. But the thing at the same time, the Muslim community, just like any other community, are going about their daily business, trying to work for a living, and their children are going to universities, colleges, traveling on public transport, just like anybody else. And really, and they should not have any fear of leaving their homes. And but the reality is, people are worried about the backlash, and if we sit here and not discuss that and pretend everything's okay, no, it's not okay. Things are a bit dicey at the moment, but we pray that things pan out, and people in this country are very sensible as well. They do realize that the majority of the people in every community are peace-loving, decent people, and this minority, this element of these lone wolves or radical people, whichever, even the far right, the EDLs and the Britain First and the Al-Majroons, all of them, they're all similar. Their mission is to divide communities, and we should not let that happen.
Okay, thank you, Shafaqat Bhai. And we've got Maruf Hussain Saab from Tell Mama, and he is online with us. Let's welcome him to the show as well. Assalamu alaikum, Maruf Saab.
Wa alaikum salam.
Maruf Saab, Shafaqat Saab is co-host with myself on Drive Time today as well, and would like to first of all welcome you and special thanks for taking time out. Maruf Saab, would like to start off with finding out your thoughts so far. What do you take of all of this incident? Obviously, we've got the statements from the Prime Minister, we've got that in front of ourselves, different stories coming out from different media perspective. So what are your thoughts so far, and how do you take this story so far?
Well, first of all, I want to pay my condolences and I want to give my sympathies to those families that have lost loved ones last night. They went there innocently to enjoy themselves, and they were killed in such tragic circumstances. And we wish also a speedy recovery to those 59 or 60 or so who've been seriously injured. So that's very important. I think, we need to demonstrate, and I think Shafaqat was on the radio this morning around about 10 o'clock, and we were clear here that, what happened here, everybody condemns these actions that were taking place. No way, in any way, shape or form, does this individual represent or share any Islamic values that I carry with my faith and look forward to in the Ramadan. This individual has a warped political, ideological view, who's fighting for a side who does not represent Islam and neither represents any intention of bringing in a caliphate which is going to do anything good. At this moment in time, it is a death cult, an organization which is recruiting members under false pretenses and committing atrocities, and we've seen that on the streets of Manchester, and we will not allow them to divide us. We need to stay strong. We need to make sure that we also challenge the racists and bigots who are out there now attacking mosques, throwing abuse, and certainly online saying things which are absolutely unacceptable. And we need to make sure we stay strong in the face of such adversity.
Maruf, obviously because you're involved in Tell Mama, and obviously you guys will be monitoring this situation closer than most people. What's the situation? Any reports? Any difference from yesterday to today? I mean, are you getting any initial reports or any reports of backlash? Because on Twitter, I've been following some of social media, and there is a lot of anger and anxiety across the board. I mean, what's your take on that? I mean, anything that you can share with our listeners?
Well, at this moment in time, we have to wait 24 hours or so before we start to report any figures or instances, because we're collating that information. But you're right, on social media, the kind of outrage that people are sharing totally anti-Muslim, Islamophobic, threatening behaviour. Obviously, you know about the attack on a mosque in Oldham, and we're picking up other anecdotal evidence as well. But that information will be collated, and we'll be able to tell you further information by tomorrow. But I think what we need to be very clear about, after the London attacks, the media were very responsible in its reporting, and I believe that had a lot to do with actually no spike occurring, because certainly after Lee Rigby's attack that took place at Brussels and the Paris, the reporting after those, the spikes went up more than 200% almost within 24 hours. But in the London attacks, that did not happen. Hopefully, we don't want it to happen in this instance either, because this person that committed the crime was not a Muslim. And Muhammad Shafiq, you just add on there from the Ramadan Foundation, echoes my feelings as well. Some of those taxi drivers in Manchester showed courage. They basically took people from a place of danger to safety with no charge or even concern for their own lives, because they wanted to help those communities and show them whatever this attacker didn't do it in the name of Islam. They did it in some kind of political ideology, and we reject that ideology as a community. And we should all stand up as Muslims and find these people, root them out, expose them to the authorities, and stop hiding behind any curtains. If you think sometimes you think what's going on, when Taliban are blowing people up, when Daesh are blowing people up in the streets of Baghdad and Turkey and in Pakistan and in Tripoli, we need to speak up against these organizations. And a lot of our leaders and mosque leaders also need to be speaking up, and they do speak up and they do condemn. But we need to isolate them, that no matter how many times you come here to this country and commit a crime of this nature, you will see that the communities are getting stronger, they come together faster, and they are more resilient than you will ever imagine. So you will give up in the end and go away, because we don't need your kind of political ideology in this country, because British people are very strong and resilient, and we're going to keep on doing that, which is why people like yourselves on Iman FM raising those voices. So when people say we don't hear you condemn or shout, we do condemn, but we don't apologize, we're not responsible, but we do condemn, and we condemn just like everybody else, because that is what good humans should do.
Roof, finally, what's next? Community cohesion will be a big concern to you, because people like yourself work very hard to bring communities together, just like Muhammad Shafiq and others. And then it's like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And your message to the community, especially the younger generation listening. A lot of my own family members, my nieces were ringing me this morning. Shall I go to college? Shall I go on the bus? Asking advice. And, a lot of that kind of scenario was playing out in certain homes. And we have to be really honest about that. There was a bit of fear in this morning with families. So how would you advise the community on that issue?
You're right, Shafaqat, you're absolutely right. I said the same thing to my daughter when this morning prior to going to college. I said, look, be careful. You're going to be traveling on the bus. Be careful when you're at college, and be careful when you come home. And you do that as any good parent, like any good parent did. Yes, last night when they took their son or daughter to a concert, they want to see them come back home safely. And I want to see our children to come home safely as well. We need to make sure they are safe. We need to take precautions. Unfortunately, because of an actions of one individual, when they go out and commit a crime, people, innocently, who go about their daily lives are affected and impacted. And we need to make sure you take precautions. We want mosque buildings to take precautions, security on our doors. We need to make sure, our own properties are safe and our kids are traveling. We don't want to be isolating ourselves or hiding away in corners. We haven't done anything wrong in that. But you're absolutely right also in relation to 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But that's the reality we're in. But we must continue to take those steps, whether we go back or forward. We need to make sure we are not put off, we don't give up, we stay strong, we put our message across to all the communities, both Muslim and non-Muslim, and say, this is Britain, we are British, we are here to stay, we have the same values, we believe in human rights, we believe in equality, we believe in justice, and we want those murderers to be caught wherever they are, sentenced and tried under the British judicial system, to make sure it sends a message to everybody else who think that they are doing this in the name of Islam and they're going to be rewarded in heaven. Let me tell you, suicide is haram, not allowed, not permissible in Islam. They're not going to heaven. By Joe, it's not up to me, but I'm pretty sure they should be going to hell for what they've done.
Maruf Hussain, thank you very much for joining us of Tal Mama. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
That's Maruf Hussain, wo हमारे साथ थे of Tal Mama, giving his views. And if you want to give your views, it's 01142425200, 0788855998786 is the text number. Please do join us. There's some comments. Raja Asghar Sati Sahab in Preston saying nice wo program dekh rahe. Tanveer Rauf Sahab, he's part of Minhajul Quran. वो कह रहे हैं Minhajul Quran College Manchester is offering shelter and food for those stranded in Manchester, which is very nice of them. And उसके साथ Malik Sadiq Sahab कह रहे हैं it's better you leave this tragic event as a criminal act for police to deal with. Leave Muslims alone. Criminals are criminals and must be treated as such. All communities have criminals. I don't want to. You are creating panic for no reason. Malik Saab, yes, we respect your views, but really it's the issue that is all there in front of everybody, and we do need to discuss these issues. And if you want to come on and give your views, by all means, you're welcome. We've got a caller as well. Shafaqat Saab, let's see who's joining us. Assalamu alaikum. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Walaikum salam, Hafiz and Shafaqat Saab is Zaid from London.
Zaid Haksab, mashallah. Zaid, we're very close, coming very close to our commercial break.
Yeah,
so
I'll keep it quick.
Okay, Zaid, thank you.
First of all, heartfelt and condolences to all of those who've lost loved ones overnight. And I've been gauging a lot of opinion locally, and alhamdulillah, our Imam Sahab made a beautiful speech after Zohar Salah about what happened last night, and how we should, as a community, make dua for everyone, and so on. And obviously it's nothing to do with Islam, and so on. And also I've been gauging reaction from local people, and obviously everyone's really, really upset. And obviously, the first thing people ask is who done it. So it's a time for us as a community to wake up, because as unfortunate, it's happened on our doorstep, and we need to get out of the attitude that if it's not happening on our doorstep, it's nothing to do with us. When everything happens in the world affects all of us on a daily basis. And I've been also reading in the Evening Standard this evening, and they've got headlines saying slaughter of Ariana innocents, and they've got about 5-10 pages to do with the incidents. And obviously Theresa May's statement outside at 10 Downing Street before she went to Manchester. So it is a wake-up call for the whole community, not just Muslims but everyone as a whole, because it's a wake-up call for humanity. So we just need to wake up and be vigilant, like Shafaqat Saab said, because we all go to concerts, we all go to arenas and stadiums for football and other sports events. So it's a time for us to reflect and turn back to.
I just want to come in there. Ramadan is coming, and obviously the masajid will be full with Tarawih prayers. Do you think there should be extra, vigilance there as well? The Muslim community.
Definitely, because we as a community, definitely, I agree with Shafaqat. We as a community are a bit insular at times, because we're not outwardly looking. We're always inwardly. We don't see what's happening around us. We've got so many issues in our communities, and nobody's looking at that. And with this, we have to be extra vigilant, because obviously in crowded areas, then you know what's going on. But obviously, you've got massages in small places, out in remote areas. They're most vulnerable, because obviously people be walking on their own, Fajr time, Isha time, Tarawih time, so on. So we need to be more vigilant, and if you can go together as groups and be extra vigilant of where we're going, and let others know where you're going as well. So if you're going to the masjid, make sure you go to the masjid, because a lot of the youth unfortunately say we're going to the masjid and they go to all the other places instead of going to Tarawih. So we need to be extra vigilant where we are.
Okay, Zaid, thank you very much.
Allah Hafiz.
Thank you very much for your comments. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Shafaqat bhai, when they say when the iron is hot then strike, but is this the role of imams, which is wonderful to see. Obviously when these kinds of incidents happens, the imams are out, the socialists out, the communities, all the people from community, the key role, and those who have the key hold positions. But obviously we condemn it, because of it's so new. We talk about it, and then after a few days,
that's right, yeah,
we forget about it.
Then wait till another incident.
Yeah, then wait for, and then
the whole communities need to be proactive, not just the Muslim community. Yeah. Everybody needs to. But this comments, and some people saying, and our sister was saying as well, why should I apologize? Why should I condemn?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm sorry. I challenge that mindset, because
you need to get out of that.
Which world are we living in? I challenge these people who saying that you create, for example, some people say you're creating panic and for no reason. We're not creating the panic. Put the television on listen to the news, listen to who this person, which community will be linked to from the next 24 hours, 48 hours, and then go on social media and read the comments in the Daily Mail, read the comments across the globe, read the comments about the Muslim community. This is the reality. If we don't face the reality, these are criminal people. They have nothing to do with Islam, but they are hijacking the deen of Islam, the beautiful deen of Islam. We condemn them continuously, but we need to root out these people. If we see anything, we need to report them, because they're criminals, but they're in the guise, they're hiding under the cloak of Islam, and then doing it, and they claim it. We should not allow them to claim it, and we should expose them wherever we can. And this mindset, we need to challenge it wherever it is.
Okay, Shwaka bhai, thank you, and we'll see you after this short commercial break. Listeners, if you want to call in, you're more than welcome to do so. Zeba Shoaib, our chairperson, will be here after the break as well. So inshallah, stay tuned. We'll see you right after this short commercial break, inshallah.
Halal Subway at Parkgate, Retail Park, Rotherham. Whether you're vegetarian or like meat, loads of low-fat sandwiches for you, and yes, all halal. 36 seated restaurants. We provide catering for birthday parties and office meetings. Have the sandwiches your way at Subway. Subway Halal at Stadium Way, Parkgate, Retail Park, Rotherham. Come to Subway, come to Subway. Eat halal, eat halal. Eat fresh, eat fresh.
In a world where accident claims are poorly managed and the referral fees paid are so low, and just when all hope is lost in the city of Sheffield, a hero emerges. A hero so powerful, one phone number is all you need. A hero named Mr. Compensator. For your referral fee of £2,000, call Mr. Compensator now on 0114 3863 386. Terms and conditions apply.
Is now open. The region's designer sofa and bedroom centre and lighting outlet. We're at the A630 Masborough Street roundabout, Rotherham, near Exercise for Less Gym, Greasborough Street, located at the former Charlie Brown's premises. The trade centre offers factory prices direct to you with over 80% saving on recommended retail prices. Call 01709 836 929.
मैं जा रही हूँ द बाजार में.
For a great happy shopping day, visit the bazaar. You will love the new bazaar.
जहाँ पर हर तरह के नए फैशन अच्छी कीमतों के साथ खुले हैं.
Visit the bazaar at Syme Street, BD1 3RB, former Rawson Market.
Open every Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Also every Wednesday at Leeds Kirkgate Market.
The Bazaar, जहां आपको हर किस्म की चीज मिल सकती है.
The Bazaar. Ooh yeah. मेरा नाम आयशा है और मेरा ताल्लुक कश्मीर ऑर्फन्स रिलीफ ट्रस्ट मीरपुर से है. कोर्ट एजुकेशनल कॉम्प्लेक्स चरिकस मेरे ख्वाबों की जन्नत, जहां बेहतरीन देखभाल, आला तालीम, बेपनाह प्यार और मेहरबान शफकत हम सबको हासिल है. अब फेज 2 में 500 बच्चों और बच्चियों के लिए रिहायशगाहें बन रही हैं और इसके लिए 9 करोड़ रुपए चाहिए. मुझे यकीन है आप मायूस नहीं करेंगे.
कश्मीर ऑर्फन्स रिलीफ ट्रस्ट 0300 123 .org.uk.
Iman FM, on air 24/7, 365. We're ready to help you promote your business to your target market, from airtime campaigns to program sponsorship, social media interaction to online campaigns that'll reach your customers quickly and effectively. Call us now on 0114 242 0551 or email info@imanfm.com and let's get things happening to your business with Iman FM.
ओ दोस्ता, ओ मेरी स्पीडिंग टिकट है, मैं क्या करा? तू खान सोलिसिटर्स की कॉल कर. उन्हां कोल स्पेशल टीम ही जेडी रोड ट्रैफिक केसेस, रेड नो इंश्योरेंस तो किनी का इमिग्रेशन, फ्रॉड, मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग, पर्सनल इंजरी क्लेम, सिविल लिटिगेशन ते कत्ल दे केस भी हल करने ने. ते जे तुसा समझो कि पुलिस तुसे नाल कोई ज्यादती कीती है ते ओ कंपनसेशन भी दुआने ने. ओ खान चढ़ा माड़ी जान.
Khan Solicitors, 351 Abbeydale Road, Sheffield 0114 258 3399.
Connecting you to your community. This is Iman FM.
You're listening to Iman FM,
Time for the news.
Centre at 5. An 8-year-old girl's among 22 people killed in last night's suicide bombing at Manchester Arena. A man's been arrested and raids have taken place in the city. Anna Jones reports. From people at the concert.
A gentleman said, "Run!" Just literally grabbed my daughter and we just ran.
To those who rushed to help.
This has been the most horrific incident we have ever faced here in Greater Manchester.
And others frantically looking for loved ones.
All we want to do is get a phone call if anybody sees her.
It's been a harrowing time, but politicians are keen to show solidarity.
We are grieving today, but we are strong.
Our way of life will always prevail.
Islamic State says one of its members was behind what the Queen has called a barbaric act. It's understood British authorities have identified the suspect as a Libyan-born man called Salman Abedi. Meanwhile, a centre's been set up at the Etihad Stadium to give support to families who are missing their loved ones. Neil Pemberton from the Red Cross says businesses have been donating refreshments.
Food, drink that will be catered for by people in there. The local community has been fantastic at banding round people and offering the support that people need in there. The way that we can add a sort of specialism within that is helping people come to terms with that emotional trauma that people have been going through.
The Queen and her Buckingham Palace garden party guests have observed a minute's silence in memory of the victims. Her Majesty spoken of her admiration at the way people in Manchester have responded. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and Prince Harry have also thanked local people for their display of strength, decency and community. Elsewhere, the family of Sir Roger Moore, best known for his role as James Bond, have confirmed he's died. The 89-year-old actor passed away in Switzerland following a short battle with cancer. His children have described their devastation in a post on the actor's Twitter account. That's the latest. I'm Kieran Kaur.
Show sponsored by
Halal Subway at Parkgate, Retail Park, Rotherham. Whether you're vegetarian or like meat, loads of low-fat sandwiches for you and yes, all halal. 36 seated restaurants. We provide catering for birthday parties and office meetings. Have the sandwiches your way at Subway. Subway Halal at Stadium Way, Parkgate, Retail Park, Rotherham. Come to Subway. Come to Subway. Eat halal. Eat halal. Eat fresh. Eat fresh.
Welcome back and good afternoon to all the listeners of Iman FM. This is Drive Time Show with your host Hafiz, Mohammed Anwaar and Mohammed Shafakat. We're talking about the tragic event which happened in Manchester Arena last night. If you would like to join in 01142425 or you can send us a WhatsApp 0788559986. We have got a chairperson Iman Media UK, Zeba Shoaib with ourselves. We'll welcome her just momentarily, but just before that, let's go to Mohammed Shafakat Sahab and some more.
Lots of comments on our Iman FM online TV. Tanveer Rauf Sahab keh rahe hain ki there's no excuse for these inhumane actions, foreign policy or otherwise. Terrorism must be confronted. Raja Asghar Sati Sahab keh rahe hain, each and every time this happens, the persons who ever do this are dead. This is what we are made to believe. And as always, we start believing and start chasing shadows. These people are things done at such a high level, we will never know who's behind this. So lots of cross opinions. Raja Mukum Saklan, my commentator, co-host on Haqaiq, is watching us from Bradford. Also Anis Rahman, we're immensely saddened to see yet another mindless atrocity committed in Manchester, and we ought to be condemning with one voice. Muhammad Rafaka Sahab is watching the show as well. Sajjad Aziz Sahab watching it in Pakistan. So some of these comments are on our online TV.
Okay, and Shafakat Sahab, we've just got WhatsApp as well, and there's a story here from Evening Standard, and look at the headline, and I think Zeba Shoaib, just perfect person to ask her about this as well. Manchester attack GCSE and A-level exams could be cancelled in wake of suicide bombing at Ariana Grande concert.
Oh, that's the
effect on the education. That's going to be huge. So I think let's welcome Zeba Shoaib ji, and I think this story just came in at the right time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum assalam, Hafiz Sahab, and walaikum assalam to Shafakat Bhai and everybody else that's listening to me right now on Iman FM. And
walaikum assalam, Zebaji.
I'd just like to say, first of all, if I may, that I'd like to offer my deepest, all of our deepest condolences and sympathies and duas with everybody that has lost loved ones in this tragic kind of event really that's taken place. I mean, just to put it into context, obviously when it happened in Manchester last night, it was about 2:00 in the morning Pakistan time, and so we kind of woke up to the news as we woke up for Fajr and realised what had happened. Initially, I didn't realise the extent of what had happened, to be honest with you. And it was only when I was reading the news and later on when I spoke to a very close friend of mine whose son actually studies in Manchester, and at the time they were unsure as to for his whereabouts. Alhamdulillah, he's okay. But I think the thing that brought it home was the fact that I can't remember anything like this ever happening kind of in the north of England. So whenever these events happened, alhamdulillah, they only happened rarely, but whenever they did happen, they used to happen sort of down towards the south and in and around London. So Manchester, when you're living in somewhere like Karachi, it just brings it home a bit more because you realise how close to Sheffield it is. So I think that was my initial thinking at first. That said, all day, believe it or not, throughout my day today at work, as this news was getting out, the number of people that contacted me just to ask if there was anybody that I knew that had been involved, suffered as a result of this event, and to express their shock really and disbelief at something like this happening. So it's been a very subdued day, I think, for everybody
and
all around the world,
Zeba Babi, and
also for people in Manchester and the rest of the UK. Going back to your question, Hafiz, I did read about the fact that examinations would be put on hold. That's correct. As far as my understanding is that the exam boards this morning very quickly and quite rightly got together and said, because this event happened with quite a lot of young people, we're talking sort of teenagers who were, and I believe, if I'm not wrong in saying that the youngest tragedy so far has been an 8-year-old girl.
Yes. Yeah.
So, there's young people we're talking about who've been affected by this, and so the exam boards have said that they will put A-levels and O-levels on hold for those families and certainly those students that have been affected by it.
Okay, Zeba Babi, I would also like to ask you, in addition to this, because your background has always been from the education, of course, the loss of lives is the main loss as the result of this event, then talking about those injured people, but everything else will be recovered. But how important you think, the effect of this loss in education on the teenagers and all the people who were involved in education, how much this will affect in the education as well as this, please?
I think the thing is that obviously not doing the examinations at this moment in time, I think that will be, in the whole grand scheme of things, it will be a little thing, because obviously, like anything, examinations can be done again, people can build their lives again, but if you've lost a loved one, you can't replace that. So that's the first thing. But secondly, I think that the effect that this will actually have on our young people, especially the young people of Manchester and its surrounding areas, will be forever there. And I think that when you lose somebody or you're involved in an event like this, even if you've been injured or somebody that's been injured, I think the effect of it is going to be long-standing. So I think it's right that they've put the exams on hold, but obviously students will at some point have to sit those examinations, because the reality is that a lot of the students that will be doing A-levels will be going on to university and other things as well. So at some point they are going to have to sit them. The logistics of it, of how they're going to sort of not do the O and A levels at the same time as other students up and down the country. I imagine what will happen is that there's always a contingency plan in place, as there is in Pakistan as well. That Karachi is an example of that. That there's a holiday called unexpectedly when the exam seasons are on, and that's why extra papers are prepared beforehand. So I imagine that that's what will happen in the UK as well. I'm not sure, because I've not spoken to to anybody at this stage to do with education in the UK, but I imagine that's what they'll do. They'll prepare separate papers for these students to do, so that there isn't any problem of people being told answers to questions, etc. So I imagine that's what the contingency plan will be.
Okay, thank you very much, Zeba Babi, for taking time out and shedding the light on this.
And again, I'd just like to pass on my condolences to everybody. And also, I think the key message is that's been coming out from Iman FM all day, really, is that we all have to be vigilant and we all have to be patient, and we need to remember everybody in our du'as tonight. So thank you so much for allowing me to come on the Drive Time Show.
Thank you, Zeba Babi. Okay, Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum. That was Zeba Shoaib, our chairperson, and very valid points over there. So before coming back to Shafaqat, by just once again, a vigil for the victims of Manchester attack will be held in the Peace Gardens at 6 p.m. this evening. People are invited, and they are invited by just another text message by Lord Mayor itself to lay flowers as a show of solidarity, and a book of condolence is also open in the Sheffield Town Hall, and the flag will be flying at half-mast.
And thank you to Zebaji from Karachi, and one of our text messages talking about that the biggest building was blown in Manchester. She doesn't know much about IRA, which is true. Zebaji didn't mention that this is a big incident in North, but the IRA did a huge bombing in the Manchester city centre, which literally tore apart the whole Arndale centre and the Manchester vicinity. But that was when the IRA was rife. I think mainly she was saying a link to Islamic terrorism, maybe in that context. The thing is, yes, exams are going to be affected. What about these? I mean, children, obviously, psychologically, they will be affected as well, quite hugely. Because so it's an impact. I mean, we're sitting in Sheffield. It's only 40 miles away. But if you're right now in Manchester, in the city centre, around that area, can imagine the atmosphere must be very, very dull and very sombre. So then again, but this argument about people saying, that why we talking about this issue. Some people have been texting us, and why we apologizing. Honestly, I just don't get this argument in the Muslim community. Nobody's said anybody to apologize. Condemning anything which is evil act by anybody is Islamic duty. It's a human duty. We're human beings, and we see.
If you're not going to condemn, how are you going to find a solution?
Exactly. I mean, whoever does wrong, if it's in the name of a state does state terrorism, if an individual does any terrorism, wrong is wrong. When innocent people, be it in Syria, be it in Manchester, be it in Pakistan, Lahore, be it in Afghanistan or in the USA, innocent people who have nothing to do with wars, nothing to do with these things, are killed or maimed. It is sad, because these people I could have been there, you could have been there, your family members could have been there. So if you're not the and that's what we're looking at. This is a human angle we're looking at, and that's why people condemn these things, and they rightly should.
Because it's a friend of mine, Shabina, from Manchester. She's into politics as well. I'm sure she's on your Facebook friend as well. And her son works there in the arena actually, and she said that all of a sudden my son took a day off yesterday because he wanted to go out with his friends, and she said that when she heard this news, and her friends, his friends were saying to him that you didn't go to work, otherwise you would have been there. So of course, there's lots of Muslim families, their children, and from the other backgrounds as well, who also work there in the arena as well. So obviously, we just need to put ourselves into their shoes, thinking that what if our family members were there?
No, I mean, the Muslim community doesn't need to be on defensive. Muslim community doesn't need to apologize. No way. Why should the Muslim community apologize for these cases? These are barbaric people. They're not even people. The word, I think that's not a word that we should. They're animals. They're not human beings. They're not fit to be human beings. But we need to live in the real world. We need to see what the reaction of people around us are. It's not like an ostrich, put your head in the sand and pretend everything's okay. No, it's not okay. A mosque has been attacked in Oldham. So this is the reality of life. People are warning people that be extra vigilant. Why are they doing that? So we're not scaring the community. We're not scaremongering, but we're living in the haqaiq or reality of the community, reality of the times, and wake up. Don't pretend everything's okay. No, it's not, because terrorism in Pakistan is so rife, and then for example, the Afghan community, the Pashtun community. Let's take it this way: in Pakistan, we're rounded up, people harassed, and the people of Pakistan condemned that. They said, "Don't do that. That's wrong. That's unfair." People are blaming our brothers from the Pashtun community, which was totally out of order. So these things happen. So let's live real. And this is
okay. We've got a caller as well. Let's see who's joining us. Assalamu alaikum. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Walaikum assalam. My name is Saeed Ahmed Sayyed.
MashaAllah, Saeed Uncle,
Jazakallah
for joining us, our chairperson of the advisory board of Iman FM. Saeed Uncle, would like to start off with you. Everything is in front of you. What would you like to say?
I think I would like to just elaborate on what Shafaqat has been saying. I think, yes, we should condemn every time we get the opportunity to condemn individually and collectively from platforms like Iman FM. And also, we should remember that we are commanded by Rabbul Alameen, the Lord of the universe, through Rahmatul Alameen, who is mercy to the universe, that the rights for each individual, irrespective of their caste, color and creed, are same as human rights, and we have been commanded to respect them and protect them. And above all, the life of each other has to be protected. There's a saying in us that if you save one life, you save humanity. If you kill one person, you kill humanity. And that is what we should be learning and keeping at the fore. Yes, if somebody is doing something and we don't know yet if it has been done in the name of Muslim or Islam, but if ever it has been done in the past, that is wrong, very wrong. It should be condemned as best as possible. And the people who understand Islam properly, who follow Islam properly, who proclaim to follow Islam properly, should be a role model of Muslims as commanded by Allah, individually and also collectively.
Saeed Uncle, who would need to start off this? We talked about this, Mir Shafaqat Sahab, and we talked about in the first segment of today's Drive Time show that, the future strategy that, we're all talking about. Each time when something happens, we are all active, and then after a couple of days, as soon as a story becomes a bit old, then we forget about it. That future strategy, what it needs to be, where does it need to be started from, and how that needs to be implemented so we are ready beforehand for such incidents when they're about to happen.
I think absolutely right. There have been enough organizations, and without sounding critical about it, as far as I'm concerned, and please be forgiven for my lack of knowledge, no other organization individually or collectively has yet taken such a step as far as I know about it. And I think it's about people with new thinking to put forward, and perhaps Shafaqat said in the earlier show this morning that there is an opportunity for a new lead to come out of it.
Saeed Bhai, thank you very much, and inshallah we look to people like yourself, our elder generation. We have a lot of respect for you all to guide people like ourselves and to guide the community in this difficult time, because this is a time, hosh se kaam lena padega. We need to be wise, we need to be calm, collected, but we need to be vigilant at the same time as well. But we need to be more than anything united across communities, not just the Muslim community, across communities, and reach out to people, because that's the need of the hour, really. And I think people like yourself should play a key role in advising the Muslim community on this difficult time.
Absolutely right. What happens, Shafaqat, is so generous of you that in spite of my shortcomings, you put across some complimentary things about me, you and others as well. That's very generous of you. The thing is, there's a saying in English, you can take the horse to the water but can't force it to drink. And I think it's for the horses who have been on the, what you call the field at the moment, to realize their responsibilities and pull their reins at the moment. It's the community who should be pulling their reins. I think also you've been very generous to give respect to people like me of the, what you call elder age group. I think progress needs both the advice of the experienced, also driven by the zeal and new thoughts and forthright and forward thinking of the young ones. So, age is not a factor as long as we understand how to listen to each other's point of view, whether they seem to be different initially. At least there is self-minded, what you call the mindedness, the thinking is common. The objectives are common.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for your call and your wise words as ever. We got comments from Muhammad Ishaq Saab in condemnation with one voice. Raza Asghar Sati Saab in वो कह रहे हैं कि please condemn who never give proof and assume it's always Islamic people without proof. बिल्कुल इस बात में भी वजन है Asghar भाई कि yes, people straight away the communities look towards the Muslim community, but the Muslim community don't need to worry about that. We're just saying that you condemn it as a human being. Yeah. It's not to do with Islam. Nobody needs to apologize, but we need to discuss it openly and frankly. And when these people are Muslims or from any community, then we should condemn them as criminals and root them out from communities for wherever they're hiding or wherever. If we know these people, if we see anybody doing suspicious activity, report them. Doesn't matter who they are, because that one individual today has put a whole community under the spotlight, and nobody can deny that. Don't deny it. Don't be in denial. That's been our problem since 9/11. We keep denying, or it's conspiracy theories. Yes, there will be. For example, in Germany,
in every state of wherever you go, there are always
exactly. But there are things that are happening that Muslim community looks at and say, hang on, this looks a bit dicey. For example, recently in Germany, a German soldier was caught with a suicide vest on. He was going to do a terrorist attack and to blame the Syrian refugees. People are aware of that. There are underhand tactics happening, or maybe to put Muslim community in a bad light. But that does not give us an excuse to sit here and say, well, there was no proof. How do we know it's a Muslim? We don't care. This guy, whoever he is. But, to associate him, Muhammad Shafiq Ramadan, he's already got the information. He said it live on this radio.
Yeah.
That he is a Muslim. I don't want to say anymore because it's going to come from the government.
Yeah.
It's going to come from the government. So he's already said that. So if he's a Muslim, then you watch tomorrow's headlines. Yeah. Are you going to hide? Do you control the media? Do you control the Daily Mail and all these newspapers? Do you control, when you go to the petrol station, the 10 papers with every headline, silence of the, innocence and all these.
Or if you walk in the town centre alone and
if you're driving the taxi,
to the comment saying, I don't want to say sorry.
Yeah.
What are you going to do then?
Yeah.
When you are found amongst 10 people in the town centre?
Exactly.
With different
my friends who, in the taxi trade, they say when the customers get into our taxis, when something like this happens, we keep the radio off because the debate is continuously about this, and it's very embarrassing. Yeah. Why are you embarrassed then? So, with these people have nothing to do with Islam, but let's stand up for humanity. Let's stand up for this country that we live in. This is our country. Our children's future is here, and we will not let these people. If you're going to attack anybody, if you're going to have a go at anybody, have a go at these people, not the people like us or anybody else sitting on any radio forum trying to bring community, trying to bring calm to the community. Don't worry, inshallah things will get better. But these people, we need to go after them because they are the biggest enemies of Muslims. Are these so-called ISIS and all these Daesh and Al-Qaeda and that. They've done no favors. They've killed more Muslims than anybody. They've slaughtered Muslims in Syria. They've slaughtered Muslims in Pakistan, across the Muslim world. And you have Donald Trump coming to the heart of the Muslim world and giving you lectures on Islam. Shame on the Muslim community. I'm sorry, shame on us, because we are being told by others. Now you're getting me a bit emotional because I'm sad. Everybody's just jumping on the bandwagon. Khuda ke bando, khuda ko khauf karo. These people are hijacking our beautiful religion. Hamza Yusuf, I went to a conference, he said Islam is beautiful, and what you see not beautiful is not Islam. It's nothing to do with this deen, right? It's the month of Ramadan. Things are dicey, things are difficult, things are a security situation, and there could be problems. So shall we fold our hands, just like we've been doing for the last 10 years, and say, you know what, like you just said, this incident has gone after a week, 2, back to square one. Back to square one.
Exactly.
What is this community? Let's be proactive.
That's why I'm emphasizing. Sayyid Shah Sahab has mentioned a very famous saying. This is also a famous saying as well. Failing to plan is planning to fail.
Exactly.
So obviously, if you don't actually plan for future events, so how do we face them? How do we should,
and the Muslim community,
we're going to get the same results again.
First up, all communities, all human beings should, and the people in the British shall say to the police, for example, this man, they said he was on the radar of the police. He's on the radar of the agencies. Arrest them, preempt them. Why are you waiting? When incidents happen, human rights and everything, okay, that's fine. But now look at the situation. Preempt. If you've got real intelligence, real-time intelligence, that this person is a threat, you listen to his conversations, everybody's phones are tapped, everybody's conversations are being heard. So you're following these people non-stop, you're waiting for them to do something. Lone wolf, because a lone wolf attack is very difficult to control. If it's a group of people, then you can maybe look suspicious or they're doing the activity. An individual person is more dangerous than anybody. So we really need to come out with this, that we need to be on the front foot, and we need to just isolate these people. Otherwise, we're asking for trouble. And let's really be open and frank. Let's really have this debate now. I think the gloves are off, because I think it's time that we stop going around in circles. We'll have a vigil, fine, we'll talk about it for a couple of days on all the community forums and everywhere, and then then another incident happens. The agencies have already told us that the next form of attack will be in shopping malls, or a gun attack like happened in Bombay, or these kind of activities, football grounds. Meadow Hall, there was a practice run in Meadow Hall a few months back. Why? So, they know that these things are happening. Yes, we're not going to scare any people, but don't live in denial. The Muslim community needs to wake up and smell the coffee.
Yeah, of course, a wake-up call, and we're just coming towards very close to our final commercial break. We have got caller as well, so we'll just take them just for a minute or so. Assalamu alaikum, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, what's your name, Janab?
Abdul Karim Jamati.
Abdul Karim Jamati साहब, ब्रेक के हम बहुत करीब हैं, बहुत मुख्तसर अपना पैगाम दीजिएगा.
मैं भी कंडेम करता हूँ इस मैनचेस्टर को. अल्लाह ना करे ये पाकिस्तानी ना हो. हम दुआ करते हैं. जी
ठीक है. और कुछ कहना चाहेंगे?
आपका प्रोग्राम बहुत अच्छा है. अल्लाह आपको सलामत रखे और भाई स्वागत को मेरा सलाम अर्ज करना.
वालेकुम अस्सलाम, वालेकुम अस्सलाम. Thank you very much, sir.
Abdul Karim Jamati sahab, बहुत शुक्रिया आपका. And we're coming very close towards our final commercial break. Just look at, let's have a look at a few of the headlines, and then we'll talk about this after the break, inshallah. And we've got Maruf Hussain sahab in the studios with ourselves, so we'll welcome him after the break as well. Manchester attack, 22 dead and 59 hurt in a suicide bombing. 22 people, including an 8-year-old girl, were killed and 59 injured when a suicide bomb attacked at Manchester Arena last night. Manchester attack, what we know so far, 22 people have been killed and 59 injured. So all of the headlines are in along those lines. Manchester Arena attack, eyewitness describe a blast horror. Another headline, the next steps for police and MI5, what they should be doing, so we'll talk about that as well. So stay tuned, we'll see you right after this short commercial break. If you would like to join in and have your say, 01142425 or you can WhatsApp us on 0788 5599 786. Don't go anywhere, we'll see you right after this break.
Equipping the generation towards a cohesive society. This is Iman FM.
ਬੂਵੇ ਖੁੱਲੇ ਵੇਖ ਕੇ ਤੇਰੇ ਦਵਾਰੇ ਆ ਗਏ ਗੱਲ ਸੁਣ ਲੈ ਦਿਲ ਦੇ ਆ ਜਾਨੀਆਂ ਦਰਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਮਾਰੇ ਆ ਗਏ ਜੀਆਂ ਸਾਮੀਨ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਇਸ਼ਕ ਮੁਹੱਬਤ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੈ ਅੱਲਾਹ ਰਸੂਲ ਦੀ ਇਸ਼ਕ ਮੁਹੱਬਤ ਸਲੂਕ ਦੇ ਰਾਸਤੇ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੈ ਮੁਹੰਮਦ ਇਜਾਜ਼ ਚਿਸ਼ਤੀ ਔਰ ਫਰਮ ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨ ਫਕੀਰ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਮੁਹੰਮਦ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹਰ ਮੰਗਲ ਦੀ ਸ਼ਾਮ 6 ਵਜੇ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 8 ਵਜੇ ਤੱਕ
In the city of Sheffield, if you ever have an accident, do not fear. Mr. Compensator is here. He can provide you with a taxi, prestige, or 4x4 replacement vehicle in just 2 hours. Call 0114-3863-386 or visit mrcompensator.co.uk and let the experts manage your claim.
Freshmart Superstore is now open in Sheffield. Enjoy your shopping experience in a clean, spacious superstore with lots of special offers. The largest halal HMC meat counter in Sheffield with a variety of meat, spices, fruit and vegetables, plus kitchenware collections and products from all around the world with free customer parking or for a home delivery service. Freshmart Superstore, 44 Irving Street, Sheffield. Call 0114 244 5862.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Khalil Muhammad coming to you with an urgent appeal. One Community has established the first Islamic education, deaf and special educational needs center where deaf Muslims and non-Muslims can attend Islamic classes to learn more about Islam using sign language.
However, this center is under serious threat and we need your Qarz-e Hasna, a beautiful loan, and your zakat to help us keep it open. Please visit our website islamfordeaf.co.uk, that's Islam, FORDEAF.co.uk, or give us a call on 0121 291 7847.
क्या आप रेडियो प्रेजेंटर बनना चाहते हैं या मीडिया इंडस्ट्री ज्वाइन करना चाहते हैं? अपनी आवाज के जरिए अपनी कम्युनिटी की खिदमत करने का सुनहरी मौका ईमान एफएम पर। आइए हम आपको बनाएंगे रेडियो प्रेजेंटर। स्टूडियो ट्रेनिंग से लाइव प्रोग्रामिंग तक की तरबियत हासिल करने के लिए राब्ता करें 0114242051 या ईमेल कीजिए info@imanfm.com.
Equity Law Chambers Solicitors. When your rights are at stake, you need experienced defence lawyers. The law firm of Equity Law. Our experienced team of professionals can assist you in all matters including family law, immigration, criminal law, drug offences, road traffic cases, fraud and money laundering. Call us today for advice on 01709 36 86 03 or visit us at elc-solicitors.co.uk. Equity Law Chamber Solicitors, advocating your rights.
Had an accident, not your fault. Car and Solicitors, a team of professionals dedicated to winning you 100% compensation with free advice and assistance. Over 15 years of experience assisting you with road traffic accidents, trips, slips, employer's liability. We can recover your uninsured losses, i.e. vehicle damage, recovery, storage and loss of earnings. Car and Solicitors, 351 Abbeydale Road, Sheffield. Come see us or call 0114 258 3399 or visit carandsolicitors.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Locally at 103.1 on FM. Globally at imanfm.com on the internet. This is Iman FM.
Show sponsored by
Halal Subway at Parkgate, Retail Park, Rotherham. Whether you're vegetarian or like meat, loads of low-fat sandwiches for you and yes, all halal. 36 seated restaurants. We provide catering for birthday parties and office meetings. Have the sandwiches your way at Subway. Subway Halal at Stadium Way, Parkgate, Retail Park, Rotherham. Come to Subway. Come to Subway. Eat halal. Eat halal. Eat fresh. Eat fresh.
Welcome back. You are listening to Drive Time Show, and this is the last segment. I'm your host, Hafiz Mohammed Anwaar. In the studios with me is my co-host, Mohammed Shafaqat Saab, and Maruf Hussain Saab from Tell Mama has joined us as well. Always an honor. Let's welcome Maruf Hussain Saab. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam, Anwar bhai.
Bhai, thank you very
thank
much.
you for having me. I was flying through just to say hi on my way to the Peace Gardens for 6 o'clock outside the town hall where they're having a vigil.
होगी ना कि आपको ऑनर
नहीं मैं देखो ज्यादा तो भी होती है अगर मैं आपको इस्लाम करने के लिए नहीं आऊँ तो लेकिन I came and did Islam and then we
mashallah. Glad to have you in the studio, mashallah. It's nice to have you here. Maruf, obviously you rang up early as well, and lots of people are saying that you're bringing it onto yourself. Another comment here that you're bringing this onto yourselves, condemn and kya kehte hain, apologize. Nobody's apologizing. Why is this debate always goes towards that side? People like yourself, others, I've never heard you apologize. You've always talked a lot of sense. What is the issue with this? Who's talking about such stuff?
I'm not sure. And I think everybody's entitled to their opinion in these matters, but every opinion should carry some rationale. And the rationale here is when somebody commits a terrible crime, everybody condemns it. Yeah. So if somebody was outside here at the Amman offices, somebody committed a crime, there was an attack and assault, you're going to condemn what's happened, aren't you?
Exactly.
You're not going to say, well, I wasn't involved in the fight. Well, I wasn't the victim. I wasn't the perpetrator. I'm not related to these people. I wasn't with them, so I'm not going to condemn it. Of course you're going to condemn it, and you're going to feel disgusted, and you're going to feel awful what happened outside. So let's take that over to Manchester and any attack that occurs. And I think this issue, I don't understand why people can't understand the spelling between apology and condemn. They're completely, as far as I understand the English language, they're different letters and they spell something differently. Nobody apologizes, and I think Shafaqat, you've been adequately putting across some points here. Nobody apologizes because nobody here committed those crimes. If anybody's got anything to apologize, it's Daesh and those terrorists who've committed those crimes. But collectively, as a community, based on human rights values, based on fairness and justice and honesty, that we should all condemn these kind of actions, no matter who does it. Now listen, we don't just condemn it when a Muslim is being blamed for committing a crime. We condemn it if the IRA committed the crime. We condemned it if ETA committed the crime. We condemn it if the Red Brigade in Europe committed the crime. We condemn it if the Bernie Meinhof group committed the crime. We condemn it if the Ku Klux Klan committed the crime. We condemn everybody. Daesh committed the crime. We condemn it if the Taliban committed the crime. Everybody.
Donald Trump, when the Muslim ban came, everybody condemned it.
We all condemned it.
All these incidents, and people keep...
and you need to be mindful, Shafaqat, as well, as you know, basically it wasn't the Muslims that overturned the ban, it was the non-Muslims who overturned the Muslim ban in the American courts, which shows that everybody out there collectively want to make sure that fairness and justice is served to everybody, and no one community should be discriminated against. Now, when it comes to these kind of issues, there are bigots and racists out there that want to target Muslims for the sole reason that you're a Muslim. But like I said earlier on, that let's be absolutely clear here, and this message is for everybody listening, that the only people that are fighting Daesh, ISIS, the terrorists at this moment in time, or Muslims on the ground. Everybody else is firing rockets and airplane bombs like thousands of miles above the sky, but actually the only people engaging ISIS on the ground are Muslims. They're the ones that are fighting this enemy that committed the crime in Manchester, and power to them, because we want them to be strong and defeat ISIS and Daesh, because at this moment in time those individuals don't represent anybody.
Okay, and we've also got a text message as well, Shafaqat bhai, and it says, great to hear Shafaqat sir speaking from the heart. These individuals don't represent any religion or communities. Harun Rashid sir from Rotherham. Jazakallah khair. And obviously, similar notes as well. Maroof Hussain Saab has also speaks from the heart as well. But as you said, I'd like to ask you this, and then coming to Maroof Saab as well, that as Muhammad Shafiq said, that the name is there, but he doesn't want to mention it because he wants to come out from the government itself. Suppose that it's going to be a Muslim, then we're back to square one again. So what do the community do?
This argument is, I'm sorry, but
it's the same thing again.
This is the most foolish of arguments we can ever have. Let's just grow up. Let's just be wise. As I said this morning, in times of crisis, Maroof Saab, leadership is born in times of crisis. When the times are good, Maroof Saab, everybody's a leader. Yeah. But when the times are difficult, that's when you have to be wise and wisdom and humanity. We mashallah, this is the true Islam. That we stand up against injustice, even if against whoever it is against, even against any community, Christian, Jews, anybody. We should be Muslims should be forefront of that, vigils or protests, because that's our deen. We don't let people, everybody say, for example, I've got comments here, children are equal, and these things are happening much bigger scale in Syria, Iraq, Pakistan. Of course, but who is not condemning that? Who is not saying that? Yes, maybe the mainstream media isn't, but the local media.
Shafaqat, the thing is, if you lived in Syria or Baghdad, I'm sure they'll be having these kind of conversations in Syria and Baghdad and Karachi, wherever. We live here in the UK. When something happens in the UK, we're having a conversation. There was an attack in Sweden. Now, there weren't big debates happening here in the UK, no, but I'm pretty sure in Sweden, in Stockholm, they were having conversations on the radio, on the televisions. Right. When it happened in Brussels, they were having conversations in Brussels. When it happens here in our home, then we should have conversations about these issues. But equally, and I said that at the beginning, yes, we condemn, but because we don't live there, we don't know what's happening on the ground, we don't know what kind of debates going on. I agree, there are issues we need to talk about. So, for example, the attacks that are happening in the Middle East. So if it's not a foreign policy issue, you might say, well, hang on a minute, Daesh are operating in the Middle East, they're being attacked, and because of what's happening there, those ramifications are being felt here in the UK. That is clearly what's happening, because Daesh is saying we are committing these crimes. But we need to be equally clear here and say, look, whatever you think you're doing, Daesh, and this caliphate that you claim to be have set up, it does not represent everybody. It just represents your own political ideology, and everybody should speak up against those kind of things. Now, we've also raised, and you mentioned leadership. When there's things are good, everybody's a leader. Everybody's, success has many fathers. Failure has few. Yeah. And when times are hard, everybody runs a mile because they don't want to be seen, and they take this extreme left-wing approach and say, you're doing this and you do that. Well, come on, let's have an honest debate about it, right? Let's talk about. If you're not condemning, so are you condoning?
Exactly.
What is this? That's what we're saying.
All those people, answer that question. So you said whatever these people are doing is right, is totally out of order. And as a Muslims, this is our duty now. We condemn. They're criminals. They're nothing to do with Islam. And nobody. One thing I'm going to say, this is totally unfair. Nobody I've heard once from the Muslim community from across the UK ever. I've never heard Maroof anybody apologize. Why should they? They will never. Why should the Muslims apologize for something that has nothing to do with them? But if somebody is from the Muslim community, yes, we will come out and say, not in our name. You're nothing to do with this community. You're nothing to do with any community. You're nothing to do with the human race. Right? So really, let's debate and let's learn from each other, and let's move forward in a positive way. Let's learn from each other. Guide the community. Come on the air. Guide the people. Guide the youngsters. Let's plan. Sit down. Like you said, this is a very valid point. I said it this morning. I keep saying it. In fact, when I used to do the drive time, I continuously talk about the rise of the right wing. We used to talk about these issues. No, you do a debate on the right wing, you won't get hardly any calls. You do about Nawaz Sharif, Imran Khan, well, like we do, the lines go crazy. And we're living in the UK. So this is the reality. These things are happening. They happened yesterday. Now, what about if it happens again and again? We just will come on the air, talk about it, back to square one. You're living in this country. Why are you warning your children not to go on public transport?
Shafaqat, here's an idea for you. I mean, look, this is about education. Radio stations like this and other radio stations are not here just to report the news, but actually have some kind of analysis, debate, discussion. You know, if someone's got a real interest in one angle of a policy or a point of view, then let them articulate that in a way that, you know, can actually be discussed and debated, and then you can move forward. Because yes, the radio stations and media is a platform for everybody to express their opinion.
Exactly,
Sometimes, you know, we don't want to allow absolute freedoms, because absolute freedoms mean you can get some of these racists say what they want on Facebook and social media without anybody taking action. So, you know, have a debate. Because you're here on the radio, you're putting your debate forward, right? Your point of view forward, and you're rightly allowed to do that, you see. But actually, you know, there's sometimes when you have to step up. So we expected, and we are grateful to the media that they stepped up after the London attacks, because the reporting was very measured. It didn't entice people, it didn't incite people, and you saw that there wasn't an increase in attacks against Muslims. But that wasn't there when the Brussels, Paris, and Lee Rigby happened. There was an increase in attacks against Muslims, and you know, nobody wants to see a brother or sister, an old guy being attacked. You know, women are predominantly the biggest victims when it comes to Islamophobia on the streets, because they're visible. They've got hijabs on. Mosques in Oldham, a mosque in Oldham. One attack is too many attacks. Nobody wants a single attack. But the reality is we have to deal with it.
Okay, एक टेक्स्ट मैसेज भी आया है और ये कहते हैं कि हर बंदा यूनिटी की बात करता है और अपने अपने एजेंडे के पीछे छुपे हुए। हम एक घर में यूनाइट नहीं हो सकते, एक शहर में यूनाइट नहीं हो सकते, पूरी दुनिया में कैसे होंगे?
Raja Asghar Satti साहब बड़े सख्ती से ये बात कर रहे हैं कि when did you condemn Blair when he was told by his own party he lied and took them to the war? I think there was 2 million people and I was one of them people who was marching.
I was as well.
Yeah, and everybody told Tony Blair, and today Tony Blair, that stigma, that thing is still attached to him, and he's still
rightly so.
Rightly so. And people like Tony Blair and George Bush were the ones who said we're going to make the world a safer place. Yeah. Since that time, the world has become unsafe.
Well,
history will remember that.
Yeah, Shafaka, history should also remember that because of what happened in Iraq and the outcome of the Iraq War, the destabilization of the entire Middle Eastern region. Indirectly led to the creation of terrorist organizations which are committing these crimes.
Yeah, that's what we stand here today.
Call very quickly, very briefly. Assalamu alaikum. What's your name? You're calling from?
Walaikum salam. It's Shahid from the Raj.
Shahid bhai, very quickly. We've only got a few minutes left because.
I just want to add that I've been walking around quite a bit today, during the day around town and down London Road and these areas. And you know what? I've found today that a lot of the public that I've come across, even workmen who never give you a glance, I've actually glanced up to acknowledge that you're there. You know, I expected something very different today, and what I've been, some of the friendly gestures, some of the, hi, good morning, good afternoons, they've gone out of the way to say, welcome people, well, welcome me, to say, look, we don't hold any grudges against you, which I found absolutely fascinating today out in the city of Sheffield. I don't know if you know, but the background of the individual is coming out that he's a Libyan. He's a 22-year-old Libyan from Manchester who blew himself up yesterday.
Yeah, that's coming through. I think the name has been published now.
Yeah, it's been published. But I just want to put a bit of positive on it from a local point of view.
Shahid, you're right. Shahid, I think what we all want, and you're absolutely right here, and the example you gave there was a really good example that, in great times of great difficulty is when we see how strong we are as a community, and the purpose of Iman FM and other radio stations and people like Shafaqat and myself or whatever slight contribution we can make to make things better, I think is something positive. Now, yes, every time there's an attack we do 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but actually we mustn't give up. We must keep going keep going and keep going, and one day we will see light
with our friends and the people that we interact with, especially.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Shahid Ali. Thank you very much. And we've only got a couple of minutes left. Shafaqat sir, before we come to you, let's go to Maruf sir first. Your final message from today, obviously, from this show.
All I would say is, look, it's terrible what's happened. We feel for those families. We feel for those families who've got injured ones. We want to make sure that everybody who's at this moment in time still looking for some of their loved ones in this terrible tragedy that took place, they are also found and made safe. We want to prevent further attacks from this happening. Communities, we want people to stay safe out there, and it's times like this when we want our communities to unite. And the example Shahid gave there, even a slight little "how you doing?" how's things, the good old gesture of a Sheffield person or a Yorkshire person is very friendly. We want to keep that going, and let it be a lesson that the Manchester taxi drivers gave. I understand they drove somebody from Manchester to Stoke for free, to get them home free of charge. And there's even restaurants that have opened their doors and delivering hot food to emergency services, just like they did in London. So these people this person who committed this crime didn't do it in any known religion that I understand and read about or follow. He did it in his own politically warped ideology that carries no significance. So let's stay together as a community and let's move forward. And we want to do it in a way that these people will realise no point doing it here anymore. This community is getting stronger, not weaker.
Just finally, Islam tells us that if you see an evil, you stop it by your hand, or you speak about it, or you think of it bad in your heart. That's the least of Iman. That's the least we can do. We see wrong, we will condemn, from Tony Blair, George Bush to this individual. We condemn anybody who is against humanity, who kills innocent people. Maybe it's a state war or an individual in the name of any religion. We totally condemn them. They have no place in society, and as a society we should all stand united against these evil people.
Okay, and listeners, that's the end of Drive Time show here today. What have you learned from today's Drive Time show and the messages from all of our analysts and the guests? That is entirely up to you. That is up to you to decide that your way forward is going to be which way. And inshallah, I'll be back on this hot seat tomorrow. Up until then, take care of yourself and keep your feedback coming in. info@imanfm.com. Up until tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And